This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
It's Friday, November 27th, 2006, and this is episode number 184 of Walt Disney World Today. I'm Matt Hochberg from MGMstudios.org, deciding to hold off on killing himself until after today's podcast after yet another Steelers loss. It's Len Testa, the unofficial guide to Walt Disney World. Welcome, Len.
Matt, you know, it's okay in the overall scheme of things because we have won the Super Bowl, so it's really okay.
It buys us some time.
Had we blown our chances against the Patriots 2 years ago and been on this downfall, it might have been time for the carbon monoxide check. But as it is, we did win the Super Bowl, and thus I am happy.
It would be ungentlemanly of me to elaborate on Mike Newell of Mouse World Radio's Weekend Excursion, so I'll just welcome Mike. Welcome, Mike.
Well, I feel the same way about the Jets. They won it back in '69, so I feel your pain, Len.
69. So wait, they actually won the Super Bowl before man first stepped on the moon. Is that what you're saying?
On or about the same time.
Is that really the criteria we're using?
Let's put it this way. I was probably still in diapers.
Man has visited another planet since the last time the Jets won the Super Bowl. Okay.
Yes.
You better get that mission to Mars ready.
But we do have a win.
And Mike Scopo of MousePlanet.com is here, and I have this to say to you, Mike. Remember Luke 21:19.
Remember what?
Luke 21:19.
21:19. All right, all I can say is, Rover, don't interrupt while Sarah's interrupting.
Classic.
Exactly. And our special guest tonight is John Rick of Central Disney Pin Traders. Welcome, John.
Hi, how are you?
Outstanding. We brought John on today because we're going to be talking about the wonder that is Disney pin trading. If you haven't noticed, Disney pin trading is really like it's not a secret, but it's something that's really been coming up in recent years. A lot more people started doing pin trading. John, tell us what you think the attraction to pin trading is today.
Well, I think that part of the initial attraction, obviously, is the amount of content that there actually is. The company is putting out a tremendous amount of pins these days, and I think that it's very difficult to go through the park and certainly in Florida and not see lanyards on cast members everywhere. I think that obviously the big draw is to be able to trade with cast members, and it makes it much easier for people to get involved.
Obviously John pin trades, but between our panelists, Len, Newell, Scopa, do any of you pin trade?
No, I've got a few pins that mean something special to me, but I don't think I've ever traded with anyone.
Nope, I haven't traded. Sort of like Glenn, I have received some pins from some friends. The latest one, a bell pin from Disneyland Paris, but I don't trade. I just accept.
I don't trade. I accept.
Well, sometimes people amass very good collections by just waiting for people to give them pins. So that is another option, I suppose. And probably a least costly option, too, as well.
Yeah, pins are expensive. What do they run these days? An average pin, what is it, $8, $10?
It's $10.95 now for a rack pin, which is what we call kind of the open edition pins.
Even a beer at Disney World is cheaper.
Yeah, but considering they started, I believe when I started 6 years ago, they were $6.95 for a rack pin. So the price has gone up, but Disney's well aware of the fact that people are buying these things, and obviously the price reflects the demand.
How many different pins are available, John?
Oh, nice question.
Yeah.
I mean, is it hundreds or is it thousands?
Oh, it's many thousands.
Different kinds of pins.
Yes. The Pin Picks. I wanted to talk about Pin Picks, which is an online repository of pins. Their database right now is at over 50,000.
It's pinpicks.com?
Pinpicks.com.
PICX?
Yeah, no, PIC. PINPICS, yes, I'm sorry.
I'll put a link in the show notes for it, Len, just for you.
Cool. Thanks.
And once again, it's an online database that's available. It allows you to not only look at the new pins that come out, it allows anybody to download a pin into the database. So every day it's updated, or actually hourly it's updated as the new pins come out for the day, and any person can go in there and kind of put that pin up. It also allows you, once you create a username, it allows you to create a list of pins that are in your collection, pins that you would like to trade, pins that you're looking for. So it's a wonderful tool to allow you to kind of organize your collection. And it is available free of charge. It's just out there, and it takes a little bit of work to load your pins into it, especially if you have a large collection. But it is a way also to allow you to pin trade online away from the park, which is also another part of the process as well.
I'm looking online. There are 48 different pins for Big Thunder Mountain Railroad.
That's correct.
What?
Wow.
What?
Yeah,
so they've got
Money.
Do they? I'm trying to think. Do they have like artists just shackled to a desk, trying to come up with different ways that we need another Big Thunder Mountain pin? I mean, how many different ways can you say train? Runaway train, mountain.
Well, they would probably come from the other parks as well, not necessarily Florida, but in Paris as well. So that's one other option that they come out with. But yeah, it's amazing. Now, what you've done there, if you've gone on to PinPix and did that, is you've typed in, I don't know how you got to Big Thunder Mountain, but basically that's the kind of database it is. I mean, you can be very specific about what you want to look for, and if you just type in
you can do attractions and.
Yeah, it's very, and once again, obviously put together by somebody who spent a lot of time to do this, but it's just a very amazing site to be able to help you kind of harness what's out there and see what's available, and also when it came out, what the edition size was. There's also another thing in there that shows you how many people are looking, how many people have the pin, and how many people are interested in trading it, so you can get a feel for how popular or how hard or easy a pin might be to get if you work with that database. So it's a pretty powerful.
They've got a Horizons pins from back in the day.
Yep. Yeah,
Wow.
it goes back quite a ways. I think if you searched by pin number and you put in number 1, I forget what the first.
Do all the resorts have pins?
Yeah, pretty much they do. Pin trading really got started in 1999. You may or may not know, or the people listening may or may not know, but pin trading was only supposed to last for the millennium. It was supposed to be done
Just like
in
Scopa.
2000.
And from the year 2000 to the year 3000, the millennium. I think that's what they
pretty
meant.
much.
Oh, that's terrible.
And really, Disney's idea came from when they sent somebody to the Olympics, and they saw Olympic.
Yeah, right.
picture.
The 96 Atlanta Olympics, right?
That's correct. And whoever that person was came back and said, "Hey, maybe we should try this." And it kind of took off, but they never really anticipated it for going any more than a year. And now, obviously, it's a big part of their income, and I don't see it going away anytime soon. I really don't. I think
No, there's no way. They're making enough money off of it.
Yeah, and it's given people an opportunity to do some other things in the parks and get involved in some other things as well. So I think that part of it is really good too.
Hey, John, if you're an aspiring young pin trader, where should you start? Where's a good place?
Well, I think the key to it is, obviously you have to have pins to trade. There's two different ways of looking at this thing. You can look at it as a collector, and you can look at it as a trader. And it's two completely different scenarios. As a collector, if you collect Big Thunder Mountain Railroad pins, you might go and just buy the pins when they come out, and have a really great collection of pins. And there are a group of people out there that's all they're really interested in, is just having a collection. So that's one group. And there's really, the option is either buy pins at the park or buy pins on eBay, which is a whole nother topic of conversation, but anyway. And then there's the trader. There's the person like I was who said, okay, for 4 or 5 months when I first started doing this, I bought a lot of pins on eBay. I had this really, at least what I thought was a pretty good collection. But then I realized I had no pins to trade. And unfortunately, if you want pins to trade, typically what you have to do is buy 2 of every pin, and that's when everybody groans and moans because, now we're talking $22 as opposed to $11. But that's really how it has to start. But then the cast member pin trading in the parks is what's so amazing, because that is a really kind of non-confrontational way to trade pins. You walk up to the cast member, as long as they don't have a pin on they don't have the pin on their lanyard that you would like to give them, they can't refuse you as long as you're trading them a Disney pin. It has to be a Disney stamped pin, but they can't refuse. So it's a very kind of non-confrontational way to pin trade. And there are a lot of people that only trade with cast members, because the other part of pin trading is the rejection. Is me saying to you, "Oh, geez, I'm sorry, but there's really
just
nothing
like
I see."
social life.
Yeah, and that's a hard. That's
You
a
have
hard
nothing
thing.
that I want.
Yeah.
I get
that hears
quite a
enough
bit.
in his regular life that he doesn't need to hear that from you now.
Thanks for bringing that up, Len.
Yeah, no problem there for you.
Trading with the cast members is really kind of a way for people to not have to deal with that, and that I think is the wonderful part of what Disney has done in order to allow pin trading, at least at the park, to be a pretty, like I said, non-confrontational and kind of an enjoyable experience for everybody.
I found though a lot with the cast members, they always have the bad pins, like like their pins will be like the Swiss Family Treehouse and Smee. And
Yeah, well, unfortunately, what happens is
Smee.
right. I mean, it's true. You're absolutely right. They usually, the local people in Florida usually have a pretty good idea of where and when to go and at what time to be places to make sure that the good pins are out there, but you really have to hunt. And one of the things where I was talking to somebody with a little bit earlier today was, pin trading is a lot like a quest. You have this quest to have a certain pin or a group of pins, and I have people in my pin group that spend hours and hours and hours in the parks just going from lanyard to lanyard, from cast member lanyard to cast member lanyard, just looking for those good pins, and they are on there. But you're right. Unfortunately, it seems a lot of the times that the good pins are gone, and they just kind of have the rack pins that everybody is kind of just putting on there to get that good pin. So that's true. That does happen.
Hey, John, what are some pitfalls to avoid if you're starting out?
Well, I would stay away from eBay as long as I possibly could.
Why is that?
Well, the prices on eBay tend to be inflated to a certain extent, and unfortunately, there'll be people listening to this that'll, cursing me out for saying this, but people. The thing about eBay is you always see all the new pins are always on eBay, almost as soon as they come out. Somebody's got them posted up there, and it's amazing what people are willing to pay for a $12.95 pin. So I guess what I'm saying is just be careful when you first get started, because you can end up having a lot of money invested on eBay, and you may not be buying trader pins at that point. However, in eBay's defense, there are, on the other hand, there are lots of pins that you can buy. In other words, where people have a group of 50 or 100 pins that they might be trying to get rid of for whatever reason. And there are some very good buys on eBay in that respect, because if you take that 100 pins or however many pins are in the lot, divide them by what the person wants, and realize that the cheapest pin that you're going to buy in the park right now is $6.95 or $8.95. There's some bargains out there. So once again, in eBay's defense and in the eBay seller's defense, there are bargains out there on eBay as well. But I think it's kind of hard. It would be hard for me to buy a pin, say a $12.95 pin for $15 or $18 to trade. So that's when I say eBay, that's what I mean. I mean, I think people just need to have a kind of an idea of what they're going after. And
some of these pins are, individual pins are like $200, $300.
That's
on
correct.
eBay.
If you look on eBay, it is pretty scary when you look at some of the prices. That
Len, I got to make a living somehow.
Yeah.
Well,
hey, my
Yeah.
set of the Magic Kingdom pins is going for $107. All right.
Yeah, it is really amazing when you start to look at eBay and type in Disney pins and realize how much stuff comes up there, and you start to look and see what some of those pins cost, or at least what they're going for now. It is pretty amazing, and there are some pretty big numbers out there that people are willing to pay for some of this stuff. And
Amazed.
It always amazes me that some of the people can sell those pins for what they can, and obviously people pay the price.
Hey John, let me ask you this: considering I'm a newbie to pin trading, what are some guidelines when trading? First of all, how do I know if I've got the T206 Honus Wagner of Disney pins, or I have the SME of Disney pins?
Well, typically, yeah, and it's there's a couple of really good guidebooks out there, and the one that's available in the park right now is the Tomart Guide, and Tom Tumbush's Guide to Disney Pin Trading is available in all the stores that sell pins in the parks right now. And that's a really good guide for a couple reasons. First of all, it's a pretty good pictorial reference of pins. I mean, Tom does a really great job in trying to get as many of them in there as he possibly can. And, it kind of gives you a feel for, if you have a limited edition pin that you have. Typically they're marked on the back limited edition, so you'll be able to know if it is a limited edition, or if it's just an open edition pin, which is called a rack pin, which is a pin you can go in and buy in the park just about any time. Obviously you wouldn't be wanting to trade a rack pin for a limited edition pin. That's probably not going to be a trade that's going to happen for you, especially if you're the guy holding the rack pin. Although there have been some rack pins in the past that have been tougher to get than others, but still, typically we trade rack pins for rack pins, we trade limited edition pins for limited edition pins, and you want to try to be in the same edition size. In other words, if you had a LE 5000 pin and I had an LE 100 pin, that trade might not go down either, it depends on the people. It always is. I've seen people trade LE 100 pins for higher edition sizes just because they really wanted the pin, and I think that's really what's important. Like I tell our people in our group, the bottom line is when you're all done, when this is all said and done and you shake hands and you walk away, if you feel good about the trade, the edition size, the cost, none of that's really important. If you got a pin that you wanted from that trade, then that's really what's important. And unfortunately, I think people get tied up in, I saw it on eBay and it costs, it's selling for $40 on eBay, and I need $40 worth of pins in order to trade this pin. Once again, there's a ton of people that trade that way, but to me it can get very complicated, and I try to keep it as simple as I possibly can. So I think if you're feeling good about the trade and the other person is okay with it, then I think really that's all that matters, and I think people can get very tied up in, this thing's selling on eBay for $40 or whatever. And once again, I'm not trying to shoot down eBay, I'm not trying to shoot down those people, but I think for a beginner at least, and that was the original question, if you were a beginner, trade for what you like, and if you're trading limited edition for limited edition and your edition sizes are relatively close, I think you'll be pretty successful. And obviously there's some things that are hotter than others. Right now Stitch seems to be pretty hot. Every time you turn around there's another Stitch pin somewhere. So we see in our group that there's a lot of people who collect Stitch. There's a lot of people who collect
they're just trying to get him off the face of the planet.
Yeah, there's some of us that feel that way, that's for sure. But Disney's really done a great job in the past year or so getting them out there just about everywhere. So there are a lot of Stitch pins out there. But the holiday pins are very popular. Right now we're going to start to see a lot of holiday pins from all the parks, and a lot of people have really wonderful holiday pin collections as well. So.
Very quickly, John, is the Disney Magical Express pin the most common pin out there? Because everybody gets a little coupon for it when you you use the service?
Yeah, pretty much. But it's funny because they were pretty popular for a while, and then they kind of got really hard to get, and now they seem to be kind of on all the cast member lanyards again. And I was just down 2 weeks ago, and all of a sudden they look like they're back again. So, I think so.
It's those and the Smee pins, man. They're just everywhere.
Yeah, and it's it used to be when we had Disney stores, everywhere else other than Florida, the Disney store pins were usually $6 a piece, and those things were really great to put on.
I'm definitely going to get an email saying, "Dear Matt, the Smee pin is actually a very valuable pin out there."
Right? Yeah, and unfortunately, I'll probably get some as well. And like I said, I just I didn't want to. I don't want to talk down about the people on eBay.
Yeah.
You just need to know. You just need to know what you're getting yourself into. When you start heading down that road. That's
absolutely. Well, when John's not berating people on eBay, he's got his own website, which is at cjdpt.com. We'll have a link in the show notes. And of course, John does not berate anybody on eBay. That's Matt. You can yell at me. And John, thanks for coming on the show and telling us all about pins.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it.
Great.
Yeah, good talking to you again, John.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, John.
And that's it for us today. If you want to find older episodes, read our show notes, or send us your comments, you can visit the Walt Disney World Today website at www.wdwtoday.com. You can also email us at questions@wdwtoday.com. For Len Testa, Mike Scopa, Mike Newell, and John Rick, I'm Matt Hochberg. We'll see you on the next show.
Christmas will come early for one person attending MouseFest 2006. One lucky person attending the Mega Mouse Meet on Saturday, December 9th will walk away the lucky winner of a free night at Scopa Towers. That's right, at MouseFest 2006, WDW Today will be giving away one night free at Scopa Towers. To be eligible, all you have to do is attend the Mega Mouse Meet on Saturday, December 9th, and you could be the winner of a free night at Disney's Pop Century Resort.